right, so good evening once again, and welcome to our Meet the Candidates event. So in terms of voting, you should expect to receive an email with a link to the ballot and instructions at some point tomorrow. You should, in your email tonight, you should mark as a safe sender the following email address: emeraldgreen@ivotehoa.com. emeraldgreen@ivotehoa.com. If you do not receive an email tomorrow, by the end of the day tomorrow, please call the office beginning on Friday. They can either help you resolve that or help you get a paper ballot in your hand. So expect that ballot to come out over email tomorrow. If that doesn't happen tomorrow for you, call the office and they will be more than happy to assist you. As always, we want as many community members to vote as possible. This is important work. Okay. Great. So we have 8 candidates running for 4 open seats for the upcoming Board of Directors election. Candidates are Mark Becker, Ken Coder, Celeste Iannuzzi, Patrick Cannell, Jeff Leventoff, Steve Lotto, Hal Simon, and Sarah Satz. And we have 6 folks who have been good enough to join us tonight. First of all, I just want to thank all of the candidates. It takes a lot of time to simply to run for the board. To say nothing of actually serving on the board, so I really appreciate you offering yourselves up and making this commitment, sort of reflection of your commitment to the wellness of this community. So thank all of you for even for just trying. Okay. All right. So I've asked the candidates to introduce themselves and to limit that to 2 minutes, so we leave as much time as possible for your questions. And I thought we could just simply go in alphabetical order. So Mark Becker, if you want to start.
My name is Mark Becker. I live on Piccadilly Circle. I'm running for the board to help enhance the neighborhood's quality of life, advocate for residents' concerns, and to ensure stewardship of all resources in the community. I started my career as a music teacher, and I then became a special ed teacher. I then went for my guidance license and my master's and my advanced certificate in guidance. I was a guidance counselor for 17 years. And the remaining portion of my career, which I did 33 years for the DOE, I retired in 2014. I was a program chairman and data specialist for the school system. Since I retired in 2014, I have been working in multiple schools as a data specialist and program chair, as an F status employee. Okay. When I first came here, I was living here 3 years. As soon as I got to this community, which I fell in love with, I immediately joined the Lakes Committee. I joined the Lakes Committee because I have a passion for boating, and I have a passion for the lakes and to keep it clean. Okay. By joining the Lakes Committee, I have been instrumental in the lakes. The lakes have the ropes where people swim. Mark Hanneman and another guy named Dan Woodruff and I actually built the ropes that we use for our lakes now that we swim in. It took us a couple of days. We built them and we actually put them out for the first time. I was also instrumental in asking that every pontoon owner have insurance, because God forbid somebody should get hurt or in an accident. And by asking all these pontoon owners to have insurance, it helped the board and the HOA secure insurance for the community, which was reduced because of it. Okay, 2 minutes is a long time.
Do you want to wrap up?
I'm going to wrap up in a second. I've also been on the pool committee, and I was instrumental also in working with the pool committee and getting more lounge chairs, getting the umbrellas and the tables that are there, and also in the security that you now see at pool. I also worked for 28 years as a supervisor, assistant director of a day camp, which I ran the day camp and all the ins and outs with the financials of the day camp. And I also supervised many, many people for 28 years at a day camp. In close, I am asking for your vote because I believe my skills would be a great asset to the community and the board, and I am here to serve. And besides, my grandchildren love me.
Ken, would you like to go next?
Yes. Okay. My name's Ken Coder. I'm a CPA. I've been in practice for 45 years. My main specialties in that practice has been real estate taxation. Special interest to this HOA is I used to audit HOAs, co-ops, and I used to help prepare budgets for those HOAs and co-ops. The board members usually was not experienced in budgeting, so I would come in and show them how to do it, summarize what to do, and then I would review the budgets for them. So coming in as a board member, I would expect to serve under that capacity as either a treasurer or helping with the auditor, financial statements, and budgeting. That would be my primary concerns. I would come up with. That's it.
Hello, my name is Celeste Iannuzzi. I've been a member of the community for over 25 years, more like 35 years. Currently, I moved to Emerald Green 1 year ago. I'm a full-time resident here. I work for Orange Oscar-Bocies. I've been there 21 years. I help children with special needs. I'll be retiring in January, so I will be able to put a lot more time and effort into working on this board. And I intend to retire here and spend my golden years here. So I want nothing but the best for this community because I intend to be here for the rest of my life. So thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Patrick Cannell. I live on Overlook Road. And first of all, I just want to thank everybody for being here. And like Chris said, thank my fellow candidates too for stepping up and offering to serve, which some years we just don't see enough candidates. So a real genuine thank you all for volunteering. I am a current board member of EGPOA. I've served on board for 3 years now. And I am asking for your vote for re-election because I think there's a lot of unfinished business that we have. Haven't talked tonight about some of the accomplishments that we've had over the last 3 years and some of the things that I think remain to be done. But just want to thank everybody again for your time and for bringing this out tonight.
Steph Levintoff is also a candidate for the board. He is not here today, but he should be here at Sunday's event. Steve, you're up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Steve Lotto. I've lived in Emerald Green now for a little over 4 years and feel that's given me enough time to see what would work for us as a community in the next few years and beyond. I currently work at Monticello Motor Club, and I also am a volunteer firefighter for the Rock Hill Fire Department. I handle all the money matters for the motor club and produce all their monthly financial statements. Having the experience to financially run an automotive country club would allow me to bring those same skills here to Emerald Green and hopefully be an asset to the board. A little more about me personally. As a child, I grew up in Massapequa, and then my parents moved me to Southern California, so I got to be on both coasts as a kid. And then before I came back to New York, we took a little detour in Montana for 11 years. So I feel like living on both coasts and middle America gave me a real understanding about life and how to handle stressful situations. A defining moment for me occurred when I was 34 years old and I crossed the finish line of the Los Angeles Marathon. I just proved to myself that I could dream, plan, execute, and deliver. So whatever followed me personally and professionally could never compare to what it took, the preparation of running a marathon and the pain that went into that. So I feel like nothing, a position on this board would be no issue for me, and I look forward to the possible opportunity.
Sarah, would you like to go next?
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Satz. I've lived here in Emerald Green for 10.5 years now with my husband, my daughter, and my tiny little dog. You've probably seen us walking on Lakeshore Drive West. I worked here in Sullivan County for the last 13 years, the last 11 being at Falls Park Central School District as the central registration, and then now with the superintendent as his assistant and district clerk for the clerk of the board. So I have a lot of experience with policy, regulation writing, and just daily management of a school district. We have 1,600 students, 350 employees, plus substitutes and everyone and the like. And usually I'm the first person that people call when they have a problem. Parents, staff, students sometimes stop in even. And whereas I'm not the one that always is the person that fixes it, I have to find the people that fix it and often diffuse situations. So that's really where my expertise lies. And my neighbor served on this board for a number of years, and when we moved in, his important thing was, you're gonna love living here, you're gonna wanna keep making it better. And one of the ways to do that is to, try to join the board. So a lot of that is, his influence in saying, this is the way to give back, is to try to join the board and help that was. Thank you.
All right, and our last candidate, Hal Simon, got here tonight. He did send in a brief statement that he asked us to read, which I will do now. My name is Hal Simon. I have been a resident in Emerald Green since 2004. The first 17 years as a part-time resident, and since 2021 as a full-time resident. I own a seasonal business here in Sullivan County, Fortress Bikes in Hurleyville, since 2021. That is the reason I'm not able to be here in person tonight. I'm seeking another term on the Emerald Green Board of Directors because I think we can do better. I love our wonderful community. I think there are so many things that we do great as a community. But like any organization, we are not perfect. There are things I wish we could improve upon. There are a few things that pose an existential threat to our homeowners association, the future of the water company, and the proposed community that sits within our borders. That is why I am running for the board. It was my pleasure to serve the community for 2 years between 2021 and 2023. I would appreciate the opportunity to do so again for the reason I stated above. I hope I have the trust and support from the community that I need to be voted in again. Okay. All right. So at this point, I'm going to open the floor up to member questions. And I will do my best to alternate between folks who graciously joined us in the room here and folks on Zoom. So folks in here can literally raise their hand, and I would ask folks on Zoom to use the electronic raise hand function. And as we shift to member questions, I would just remind members that the point of tonight's event is to amplify the voices of our candidates and get to know our candidates, not for members to make speeches of their own. So I would just ask that members come to the point quickly and pose their question directly so that our candidates have the most time in this event to answer the question. All right, and with that, do I have a brave member who wishes to ask first question around this year's election site? I'll read it for you. And may I ask that you just come up to the owl so that you can hear it. Thank you so much.
First of all, it's not fair to have cookies here in front of me. This question is for everybody here on the board. Here we are in Sullivan County, United States of America. We have a flag standing there. We are having a meeting. How opposed is everybody on here to at least acknowledge the country we live in for the rights that they've given us to say the pledge at the very least in front of every meeting, or even follow Robert's rules of meetings? I've been to one meeting. I wasn't exactly impressed by what I saw. However, this is the way it is. How do you feel about having the pledge of following Robert's rules of meeting?
I'm not opposed to it.
I mean, at the fire department, when we have our formal meetings, we pledge to the flag before every meeting. And there's rules to follow at every meeting. It just makes it go smoother. And it makes it to be, I think that's the way to go.
I'm happy to jump in because I'm sure you're going to direct the question.
I was addressing to everybody.
But I got you. No, and I respect the question and I appreciate you asking. Look, first of all, on Robert's rules piece, I think we do try to follow that as much as we can. Robert's rules isn't rigid enough where you can't make exceptions or do what you need to do as a deliberative body to get to a consensus and do the things that we need to do. That's not always easy on a board this big, board 11. Addressing the flag, I mean, I think your question was about acknowledging and respecting our country. I absolutely would acknowledge and respect our country. I think what you're referring to is when in March or so, we got new management, and I, as president of the board, I've been trying to make our board more professional, more corporate-like. And so we struck the Pledge of Allegiance from the formal part of the meeting. But as I told anybody who asked, including folks who came to our last meeting and asked, we have a flag right there. Feel free. No one's going to tell you you can't say the Pledge of Allegiance, crying out loud. But I think the question you asked about patriotism and I guess what candidates feel about patriotism, that's very personal, obviously, to everybody. And personally, for me, I'm an incredibly patriotic person. In my law practice, my single pro bono act is on behalf of the United States veterans who were denied service-connected benefits after years and years and years in the VA. We represent them in the United States Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims in Washington, D.C. Been very successful in helping really disabled veterans with just an unfortunate labyrinth of regulations against them to get service-connected benefits that they deserve. Look, not everybody has the ability and the good fortune to serve our country. After 9/11, I volunteered for the United States Navy. I was medically disqualified. My wife, who should tell you how much she hated me doing that. But right out of 9/11, I mean, we all felt that sense of patriotism, me included. And so to answer your question, I would absolutely affirm that.
I'm totally sorry. Celeste Musing, I'm totally for saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Do it every day at school with the students, teach them about our country. I'm totally for saying the Pledge of Allegiance for everything.
My name is Mark Becker. I think saying the Pledge of Allegiance is the correct thing to do. It's not a political statement. It's in honor of our country, and I'm all for it.
Just so that I'm clear to everybody here, I am very big on saying the pledge at meetings, especially when we're having a gathering in our HOA. It's something that shows respect to our country, and the fact that there are people that live in this community that, although they don't wave the flag, whatever it may be, they have the right to speak their feelings about where they live. And the thing about America is everyone else has the right to say the same thing opposing that person. So it's important to not just me, I'm probably 80% of this room. Every meeting I've been to many meetings, and the flag is important to at least say the pledge. And that's a big thing on my part. I'm sure everyone else has different questions, and the Robert's rules and everything else you've answered, so thank you very much.
Lloyd, you should sit down here and run for the board.
I'm sorry?
You should sit down here and run for the board.
No, you can put me on the board.
Thank you.
Do other members have questions? I'd ask if you have a question that you please come up close to the table so just that folks can hear you through the aisle. Joe?
Is there everyone? Okay. Yeah.
So, just shot him in.
He doesn't look shy.
I guess we're mentioning locations and everything, names. Jose De Jesus from 78 Club Lane. I mean, I have a simple question. I know where most of. First, I gotta say, thank you for those who have already been on board, Patrick and everything for the service, because it's no one really gives you any kind of thank yous, for all that, Where's your stance on the Greenway? That's a big one, and that's for everyone who's going to run for for the previous and new ones. For us and a lot of the homeowners who live around the Greenway, that's big for us because it's like imagine living around the lake and you have speedboats running around, So for us to want to see ATVs, motorcycles, it's on. We don't want to see that. We want to see the Greenway as something that's going to be beautiful, hiking, running, whatever it is for
for ourselves and our future and our children. So anyway, my question.
My name is Mark
You're
Becker. I was at only one meeting because I wasn't officially on that committee. When it was so named the Greenway by Dan, who used to be in this community, okay?
I love them, yeah.
You know
Great
Dan?
guy, yeah, sold his
Good guy.
home and everything, yeah.
That's right. So I worked very closely with Dan on two of the other committees that I had mentioned. When the Greenway was first determined, that was his idea to name it the Greenway.
Hmm.
And then we had the first vote, okay, as to what the picture would look like, and there were three of them. And Dan submitted those pictures, okay? And he ran them by me also, and I worked with him in the background because I wasn't really on that committee. In fact, the day that I was on that committee, they took a vote about things, and I was not allowed to vote because I was not officially on that committee. I couldn't agree with you more. I live on Piccadilly, right across the street from me. The back of those houses are all on the Greenway. We all talked about during that committee meeting, making it a nice place to walk and go through, putting games, as Mr. Cannon had said last week, Frisbee games that are out there. We talked about how the garbage can't be left there because of the bears and the animals that are there. We talked about at that meeting, which the fences are now up, okay, because of that meeting, to try to cut down on the ATVs. When I almost bought a house across the street from where I bought a house, and I saw those ATVs running back and forth. You wouldn't want to live there, would you? So I'm in full agreement with you,
Trust me,
okay?
I'm on Club Lake and I saw it.
Right, so
For the
I'm
rest
right,
of-
so I'm right next to you on Piccadilly.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
so for the rest of the board members.
I'm with you,
Or future.
100% with you.
Let's give other candidates a chance to respond.
The Greenway was one of the most important things that we did.
I'm sorry, I don't mean.
I'm Sarah Satz. The Greenway is the most important thing we did, I think,
Okay.
honestly, in the last couple of years. Is to get that, to secure that and have that be someplace that for nothing, you can't, we own it, we can't build on it. We're gonna keep it a space for trees and everything like that. It's like our own little, park parcel essentially. And yeah, to secure it better from each, it's just unsafe to have anybody back there and it's not an ATV park but actually having that be secured is, I think, one of the more important things that the board went through with the last however many years ago it was, but even if it costs more, it was most important to have it happen because we couldn't afford to have someone else come in and buy that parcel and do what they want with it.
Celeste Musing. I agree with you. I think I spoke to you at the last meeting.
Yeah.
About talking about putting big signs there so people don't get lost. I've walked the trail multiple times, it's a beautiful trail. I think it would be a great idea, is maybe put some benches there and just a community, just make it beautiful for everybody, just to, like a paradise for everybody just to walk it. I don't think it's gonna cost a lot of money. I think we get people together to clean it up, because I did see a lot of piles of garbage in certain areas when I was walking with my husband. So to get it, I think we discussed that once before about getting people together and cleaning up the outside of that.
Yeah, your husband and I walked it, you were with us on it,
Yes,
there's three
yeah.
locations on it. And actually, I walked it yesterday and there was a couple of areas now they dumped again on.
Yeah, I don't know how they get there, and it's
Yeah, well,
very disturbing to see the dumps.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, if we can move quickly, I guess, on the next board, so everyone is.
I'll jump in, Joe. You know how I feel about it, and that I'm very, very supportive of it. It's one of the reasons I push for this to become an amenity. So the way I view it is, it's one bit protection of the properties that are around it, but it's more or less an additional amenity that we can provide to property owners. And I think it will increase property values overall, because it's designed to be and meant to be just preserved nearly as is, as low maintenance as possible. Benches, great idea. We've talked about some exercise workstations along the routes. We can have our own maintenance folks keep the mowing up, but beyond that, and maybe a little bit of natural vegetation, there's actually a company that I can recommend work with, a not-for-profit that teaches all about native planting and native vegetation. Having that returned to those areas and then just move on, right? But have people enjoy it, keep the walking trails clear. And as far as the ATVs, got myself, I've never seen more when they arise, that we're all over that. And we also, in addition to the fences, put up trail cams, to try to deter. So I think we've been reasonably good at the deterrence aspect of it. Now, I'd like to see it move to the next phase where people get to enjoy it a bit more and get some of that sweat equity to make it more common for boulders and help really, just make it even more beautiful.
And I have one thing to you, Patrick, for all the support on it, because you've been behind it 100%. Any other board members? Or future candidates?
Ken Coder, I can't really say any more than what's been said already. I would just be repeating what everyone's
Okay.
said, so I 100% agree.
If I may, can I ask one more? I'm gonna go off the subject of the Greenway into something else.
More question than a comment.
It's another question. Yeah, so, my other question as a homeowner, and this is more, forget about the Greenway. This is, more, I'm big, I was, if you don't know about me, I sat on the board many years ago. I did 2 terms, 6 years. And I was big, I was a, advocate for, when it came to closed bids, everything being a closed bid. I'm from the state, I'm a crane instructor, this and that. So if you guys don't know, there's a lot that goes on at the state level, living here in Emerald Green, it was big for me to see that anything that comes into Emerald Green, because it protects us as homeowners, that those bids are closed. And the way I look at it is, hey, if we're gonna do a new roof, because I think that's a new, in the next step.
Joe, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tackle you. Can you pose the question?
Chris,
Thank you.
what is, I love you for that, Chris, because I could talk for the next 2 hours.
That doesn't look it.
What is your stance on closed bids? Because my opinion is everything should be 3 bids, closed, open to Emerald Green's board, so everyone sees it, transparency, things like that. If I, correct.
I can answer that, Ken Coder. It's gotta be closed bids. Most of the jobs that I've been on, that I've ordered in, always closed bids. Because if you don't have closed bids, you're gonna have lowballing. You're gonna have. I can't imagine, I don't think I've ever done a job or an order where there hasn't been, they've always been closed bids.
Okay.
So when you say open bid, you're saying that.
Closed, there's what I'm looking, what's your stance on closed over open? If you wanna go that route, I'll go.
No, but I don't understand. So what are you saying is happening?
See, my thoughts, and as a manager myself, closed bids for me were always, everything had to be bidded in, double envelopes, the whole setup. Right now, as Emerald Green, we don't have a policy for that. We don't. It's just been bids come in, and we don't know how they were chose. And I was a stickler for it, and I have to stand by that. It's just the way I, have been thinking my whole entire life. And I love this community, so I want to know what the stance are for future, on board on closed bids and what they're looking to possibly do to make sure the policy or the procedure is in place that benefits us for the best bids that we can benefit.
I mean, at the motor club, when we're bidding on a job, we get 3 bids. Each vendor does not know what the other is bidding on. And everybody who's involved with the capital process knows who we're getting the bids from. So everybody who's supposed to know knows and is involved in the process. So I would hope it would be the same here.
Okay.
I'm from the school world, so it's RFPs are in the newspaper, it's closed bids, sealed up, all directed to my attention as the clerk. They're open at 2 o'clock on the day of the bid opening. We're checking all of the, all of the pieces are there. There's, 7 different pieces that come in, give or take, depending on what, the IRAN contra deferring, like all that, those kind of things. And then they're all reviewed, by the board committee. They're open in public, so when it's been contractor bids for big capital projects, I've had an audience of people while I open bids, they can all hear each other's numbers. So it's all very specific, and I send out the the advertisements for the RFPs and send out the actual packets to people if they need them, and so that's all really, really important, because you don't want anybody knowing what anyone's doing and having that open and let them come to see what anybody else did, because even as a contractor, you want to know what other people are doing. Like, what if you came in really high? Then you're going to know you're not going to get any job around here if your numbers are so far off that what other people are bidding. So it's just for everybody else's benefit too, to have that opening be officially announced and be able to see it.
I'm happy to commit to reviewing our bidding processes if there appears to be any problem with it. But currently what we do, and what I believe is the best way to do it, we don't have the buying power of government. So publishing things in the newspaper, I'm not criticizing brands at all. Publishing things in RFPs in the newspaper, that's just, we're not the government. We're really not going to be able to get away with a full process like that. But I think what you're trying to achieve is a blind bidding process, and that's what we currently do have. No one bidder should be knowing what the other bidders are doing. Our management certainly takes care of that. There are certain projects that I've run in the last 3 years, you can't even get sometimes through bidders. As hard as you try. I've seen current manager, former manager go 3, 4, 5 counties deep trying to get contractors on certain things to bid. And sometimes you only go 1 or 2. I think it has to be a bit more of a flexible process. I don't think it can be as rigid as the government. And I don't think we would want it to be, because I don't think we'll get the best quality that we want to get. But blind bidding is a policy, and it must continue.
There are other candidates who would like to address this?
I agree. I think blind bidding is the best way to go. I think you get more reliable people with a blind bidding.
I'm just gonna do a Ken Coder, ditto.
And I just want to say thank you all before Chris cuts me off, because he's unlikely. Thank you for the service and for those who are looking to serve. Thank you.
I'd like to ask, we have, in addition to the elections, there are 2 spending items that will appear on the ballot. One for the purchase of a weed removal machine to de-weed our lakes, and the other for the replacement of the roof of this building. And since it's on the ballot, I would love to hear what candidates think of those propositions.
I definitely, for buying the machine, I think it's a great idea. I looked at the numbers. It's best for us to buy the machine than it is to rent the machine. So I definitely think that's the way to go with the machine. And I think you had said that if the gentleman who we're buying it from, if he borrows it from us too, he will pay us to use that machine. So I think it's definitely in the long run, we'll make our money back and we'll use it more often. I think it's a great idea. We just train somebody to use the machine. So I can get a machine.
Thank you.
I think the purchase of that machine is essential to this community. And the reason why I say that is because you don't want to keep spending money to have somebody do this when you can own a machine and make up the difference in the money within a few years. My only question is, you're buying this machine from someone person. You're not buying it from a company. You're not going to get any warranty on it, probably. I don't know. I'm just asking as a potential board member. Last week I was here for a meeting and I did some research myself on another company that's a huge company, and they have a person right here in Newburgh. So just in case this falls through for any reason, I actually spoke to the president of that company in order to get a bid, which is much more than we want to spend here. But they also said that they have people who return their items in order to buy a more expensive item when they find out they purchased something smaller. So we could probably get something like a used car from them, but they would warranty it because they're a full company. Where are we going to go to get this thing fixed if it needs to be fixed? These are just questions that I have and that I would pose before doing this. I also question the functionality of the machines. The machine that I had brought to the attention has much more functionality. Do we need all the other functionality? Probably not. Do we need some of that functionality? I believe so, being on the lake, okay? But the question I wanna ask everybody to just keep in their minds, we need this machine desperately, and I'll tell you what. You take a look out this window right now, and you take a look at Davies. And with the water chestnuts, and they can move right into Lake Louise Marie. And if they move into Lake Louise Marie, what's gonna happen if Lake Louise Marie starts to look like Davies Lake? That would shut down this entire community. Your property values would plummet. People would move out of here if that lake ever got weed choked. The purchase of this machine is essential, no matter where we go.
Didn't they used to stock the lake with fish?
We just stocked the lake last week. I was there when they stocked the lake.
So
Thousands of bait
wouldn't
fish.
that take care of that problem or?
Not, no.
These are bait fish.
Or
This
overwhelmed?
is right, it's overwhelmed, these are bait fish, we're talking about runoff on the lake here, which is, I wanna do something about, that's another reason why I joined the board. All the people that are using pesticides in this lake that are running over to that lake are causing the slime and the algae. Now, not all slime and algae are bad for the lake, but some are, and they can hurt our swimmers. They can hurt the lake. We have to stop this lake from being overgrown now. I am proponent of being proactive rather than reactive. Thank you.
Also, just to add to what Mark is saying, I think we should pass the budget for the weed machine. I don't necessarily think that we should purchase this particular machine. Once we have the funds in place, there are options. And just like Mark said, we're buying it from one person. We're not sure what happens if it breaks down a year from now. This guy isn't here, as opposed to buying it from a reputable company. I think the most important thing right now is to get the money in place and just do a little more research and not just to jump into something like this. But it is important. So essentially, these lakes have to be clean. These lakes look like Lake Davies. Who's going to buy houses on the lake? Nobody's going to buy a house on the lake.
Exactly.
I think having the equipment to maintain our own lakes is important. I also get really worried about buying from one person when, recourse and anything that could go wrong with it, or, and and do we know who can repair these machines, and is there trainings that our staff has to go to run it, like that kind of, thing to make sure that we're using it effectively. But to echo Mark is that we know that the lakes need help. We know that all of the bodies of water need a ton of help. We know that our water treatment stuff is off the charts when it comes to getting it good enough back into our houses to drink it. And it's also, firming up, getting the weeds out, and also, writing more regulations about those pesticides and fertilizer stuff getting into the water. Because we can only control so much that's coming off of the tributaries, but if we can control right around here, with all of us here invested in it, then it's our water that we drink, so.
I voted yes on both and wrote the memo to the homeowners, advocating going to downside machines. Yes, absolutely, yes.
Yes, yes.
All right, I see that two board members have their hands raised. Before I go to board members, current board members, I would like to just do one last sweep of the boardroom here. Are there any members present who have a question? Yes.
One question.
So please come up just so people can hear you. Thank you.
Susan Giordano, 43 Lakeshore Drive West. Just wondering your thoughts on having meetings on weekdays, because on the weekends, we have book club, water aerobics, church, family events, and I feel like the weekends are packed with different activities, personal and community activities. So I was wondering your thoughts on weekday meetings instead of weekends.
I'll go, I'm totally open to it.
I'm totally open to it also.
Same here, rather have it on replay.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much going on the
There's
weekends.
only one night I can't do it, and that's Thursday.
As long as we were to avoid the actual board meeting, I have to be at, which is only once a month, then yeah, evenings are way better than the weekend.
I think a night that would benefit the community more.
I feel like some people have church Saturday, some people have church Sunday, and then like that Saturday water, the book club, there's just a billion things on the weekend, so. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Beverly, I'm going to recognize you. Would you like to pose your question?
Did you say Beverly? I'm sorry, it's hard to hear.
Sorry, you're up.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you all who are running and Patrick for rerunning. It's great that there's so many people interested in running for the board seats that are open. So I'm really happy to see you all. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person tonight. So this is not meant to be a negative question, but I'm wondering what each of you think you can bring to help improve the functionality of the board right now, and something that you think that we need to do better as the current board. And again, this is not meant to be a negative question, it's just an area that you see that we can improve upon and how you think you're going to help do that as a collective teammate and team member.
I can start that. Can cover
Yeah,
it?
one more thing. I'm really sorry. I don't want to hear about anything that we already talked about in that. Sorry. So
Yeah,
like not the
I-
lakes or, the other stuff, just something new.
I've worked with boards for years, so I have the experience. To tell you the truth, the board we have now, I think is a great board. The only thing I can tell you is that hopefully I could continue to improve on that, just from my experience.
My name is Celeste Nuzzi. I've been president of parent guilds for St. John's School in Goshen. I've been the union rep for BOCES in Orange County. I feel that working with children with special needs, I learned to listen a little bit more than most people. I like to being on the board. Since I'm here also as a full-time resident, I'd be able to listen to more what people want in the community. So that's what I'd like to do. I like to speak to more people in the community. I'm here all the time. I could see what's going on. I could talk to more people and listen to them and find out what they want. And then from there, I can go and see what I can do to make this better for everybody who lives here. Because I intend to be here, like I said, for the rest of my life. So, thank you.
As a guidance counselor for over 17 years, I am a team builder. I have strong organizational skills, and I am very fastidious. See by all these notes and everything I brought here today. I think the board has done a great job at being open. But what I think needs to happen on the board is that they need to listen a little more to the constituency. When there's a majority of the constituency asking for something, even if you're a board member and you disagree, we're here to serve the community.
My name's Steve Lotto. I actually have no preconceived ideas whatsoever. So I would just come in and just try and help the community as best as I can. As far as the board previously, I really had no experience, but I think judging from the way the pool is run and judging by how great our community looks, the board has done a pretty good job. So I love living here, so.
Yeah, I think I'd just like to help the board continue to find their one voice, because yes, everyone, board members are out in the community, they're hearing everything. But when it comes down to it, the board is a functioning body that has one voice, and I think it's most important is that team, all comes to the table and works to, make decisions and the compromises and everything, but has one voice out there, that speaks speaks as best they can for everyone in the community. Because you're not gonna make everybody happy. And just making sure that people feel heard, and that the best way is to just actually, sit and, like Mark said, sit down and listen and just actually hear people before you jump to anything. So.
I think, Beverly, apart from convincing you to try to run for leadership, one thing I think we can do to improve our board is around our committees. I think we need to do a better job of making our committees meet more often, holding other board members accountable to do so, me included, right? I co-chair a committee that hasn't met in a couple of months and needs to. So I think that's operationally one of the single most obvious improvements I think we can make.
Thank you very much. One more question to go with that. I'm really sorry to ask too. So I heard a lot of people say that that we need to hear from the community more. So one thing that I had been interested is more, now we have the Survey Monkey thing that we have where we can do like online voting of stuff. So I'd like to know from each of you what your thoughts and opinions are on sending out more of those surveys to our homeowners to gauge what they're interested in, what they want from the community. If we have like, something big that we're going to be discussing, just kind of like putting out questions ahead of time to kind of ask the community what their thoughts are. So it's not just us getting out into the community and talking to each other, because we do that and get feedback from people, but kind of getting the data as well to back it up. I'm big from quality, so sometimes I wish that we would use that functionality a little bit more. So I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
And I might just channel Rich Brown for a moment here and broaden that question to how would you seek to engage the community in the work of the board?
I don't want to hear it anymore, but I don't want to leave the meeting because then it shows.
I think Mark has another question.
Sure. I agree with you as far as sending out surveys to the community. But what I also would like to see is more people engaged in the committees that we have. The committees that we have now have grown smaller and smaller over the last 2 years that I've been on it. And we need to seek more people's involvement in those communities, in those committees. Because the committee is where the questions get posed to the board. The board will hash it out, they'll make a determination, but the more people involved in the committees, I think the better off this community would be. And I think we should have something out there to try to engage these people more to get into the committees. And just your sending out of a survey is just one way. But within the committees, we should talk about this and find other ways to engage people more. That's what I think.
I live in the land of asking our employees, our parents, everyone, how are we doing? This is coming up, what would you like to see it different? How was that event even that you came to? What would you like to see about it different? And then preparing all those numbers, because I also like to see a lot of data and numbers and things to back up stuff. So I think even like three questions, it can't be long. It's got to literally go to someone's email and have probably 3 questions of, and anything, just short, quick, not too much to read, because that's the best way. I think that will get people engaged, and if they can do it right from their phone, that's how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I'm supportive of any way we can figure out how to survey more people and get people more engaged. If that's through Survey Monkey, Beverly, then that's a great idea. Or even, I don't know, what other kinds of survey tools we could use. Mark mentioned earlier about listening more to the constituency, and I've found over 3 years on this board that sometimes it's hard to know if that's really the voice of a constituency in the community, or whether that's just, the voice of 2 or 3 people who bothered to come to a meeting and show up, which I respect them for doing that. But it's hard to know, is that really what everybody thinks? And, I know you're not going to get, I use the old adage, you can give away $1 million and you're not going to get everybody to respond to that. You just won't. That's the way it is. I think we've worked hard to try to Chris's point, to increase engagement with the community through electronic voting. That's been very successful. We have seen more members, more homeowners engaged through voting that way. But in terms of what people want to do, what they feel about on a particular issue, I'm open to any and all ideas.
Resolution is coming.
I agree with that also, and even maybe, I don't know much about this program you're talking about, but maybe we can add something in that program, asking people if they're willing to volunteer to help out in certain programs that we want to do. So that will go out to the whole community also.
Yeah, I think on the.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think on the back of that is, if we want more committee members, committee people to join committees from the community, I think we need to increase the amount of notices that get sent out about when the meetings are, not just 1 or 2, but like almost weekly leading up to the meeting, because it's easy to even for myself, I put something in a reminder and then I forget about it, or I get busy or something happens. So the more reminders that you have, the better opportunity is to engage people. And I also think if those committee meetings were a little bit shorter, it would be easier to get people to engage in them more. It's really hard for people to spend an hour on a phone call versus 30 minutes. So I think if you try to cut those meetings down a little bit, or maybe had like one meeting that was a longer meeting and then the other meetings a little bit shorter, you would get more community involvement because people lead, busy lives and they might not be able to commit the whole amount of time.
Okay. Yeah, Survey Monkeys really do work and they get people involved. And I think another suggestion would be maybe to have a remarks column below that for ideas to add to the Survey Monkey.
I know that member surveys work. They work at the Motor Club. Half the things that we have developed there have come through member surveys. I mean, we have an unlimited budget. So we just, when the members want something, we just buy it. And I understand, yeah, it's the only place I ever worked where that's ever happened. But I'm not saying we could do that here, but what it is doing for us, it's telling us exactly what they want. And we achieved 100% success satisfaction at the Motor Club. And the only way we get that is through the member surveys and finding out what they want. So.
Dan, you've been waiting a super long time and I apologize for the wait. Would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, sure. First, I want to say thank you to all the candidates here. It's good to hear everybody's feedback, and I welcome people stepping forward and looking to volunteer for the community. Just had a question here, and I speak as a homeowner. This is not as a board member. I do appreciate everybody's feedback as it relates to the golf course, or the greenways as we call it, understanding that it's an asset and a value to the community, and it helps better manage the community and its resources for our members to use going forward. With that, I bring us to our most critical asset that I feel is the water company. The topic has come up several occasions over the last several years, and outside of Hal, who in his notice there gave a seemingly overwhelming endorsement of the water company, I just asked the members what is their specific position on the water company. Is it an asset you feel to the homeowners and residents of both areas, be it Emerald Green or Lake Louise Marie? Or do you feel it's best served that the water company be looked at maybe from a municipal standpoint and outside of the purview of the association? I just asked for the members or the candidates' feedback on that, what their specific position is, if you look to keep it as an asset, or if maybe you look down the line to hand it over or look for a future sale. Thank you.
Well, I'll go first. To be honest with you, I hear so many contradicting facts about if the water company should go municipal or if it should go private. I really don't know. I hear too many facts, let's call it, about the benefits of keeping it private or letting it go municipal. So I have to have some true information, some numbers to look at before I made a decision.
I was gonna say the same thing. I don't have enough information to answer that question. And I'm not just gonna spew something out that I don't know enough about. I would have to do some research and tell you how I feel after my research is done.
I feel the same way. I don't know much about it, so I would definitely have to do more research and find out the cost of both ways and what's best for our community and what's best for this area.
Yeah, I mean, I think our water company is a great asset to our community. Even what I do know, which is a fair amount, I wouldn't think anybody would be in a position to say that they could turn it over to a municipality. I don't think that's a good idea for an asset in the first place. We wholly own the water company, and just giving something away without that has value, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I think we also, not only owning the water company means we own our water quality, and I think that's paramount in that. You know, we have local control of it, we have complete control of it right now, and. You know, while you can, you know, trust your municipalities, you know, to a certain extent, but or if it goes private, forget it, then you don't have control over that. And my parents have terrible water, and the water company's been bought by so many different companies, and I think it's somewhere in Europe that owns it at this point, and it smells like complete dirt. So to keep our water clean and as nice as possible and locally owned and ours, is vital, I think.
Yeah, I don't know much about it either, but it's an asset and we control it, and I wouldn't see why would we want to give that away to somebody else, and who would control the water that's right in our backyard, so. I would think that we make an effort to keep it. Like we've had, or, you know, show me different that it would be beneficial to the community to sell it. And we would reap the benefit of that, so.
Thank you for the members. Oh, did I miss anybody? Sorry.
You're good.
Thank you for the members for their honest feedback on that. Just from my perspective as a homeowner, there's nothing more more prudent for us as an asset than the water company. It was nice to see all candidates there present their case for the golf course. But I would have liked to have been able to see everybody in support of maintaining the water company as a definite asset to our community. So thank you.
There are other members in the room who have a question.
I do.
Please, sir.
Do I have to come up?
Yes, please. Thank you. Or you can just project. Just project.
Project. Jim Conto, 332 Lake.
I don't hear you. I'm just kidding.
Is the board open to expanding? You see, you have a lot of great qualified candidates here.
You want to answer
got
as
four
a
spots.
candidate?
You got 4 spots available.
Yeah.
Right here, you have 6 people.
The board size is limited by the bylaws of the
Oh,
corporation.
it is? Okay. Can you change bylaws?
Good.
Has to go through committee.
Are there other
and-
questions?
I empathize on it.
Is it a question?
Yeah, because it's bothering me though. Since Dan brought up the water company, I mean, I've over 20 years here and I've been on a water company and I've been on the board for over 6 years. It's been a big thing for me and my family. I raised my children here. How much time is my simple question before Chris cuts me off? Is this board willing to put, you know, into what's gonna take to oversee the proper bidding and everything that's gonna take for this water company? Because I'm gonna tell you now, in my opinion, this water company should never, ever be bidded out or anything. It's ours and we should control it. You know, it's as simple as that. The minute as a state and manager and everything, the minute you bring in the state, it's gonna go to chaos. We control it. And we have to say so over everything. So how much time are you guys willing to put, because that's gonna take a lot. What you're gonna step into now will be this water company. Besides Emerald Green. Even though there's a corporation there. That's separate from Emerald Green. Because Emerald Green sees, they don't oversee it, it's ours. So that's my question.
I can answer that first. Like I said, I gotta educate myself, so we can put some time into this whole thing. I'm not saying I'm for or against it, I don't know that much about it. I've heard too many contradicting facts, let's call them, going both ways. So I'm not gonna be a politician and pretend I know, and I just don't know. You know, I'm not saying, first of all, I understand what you're saying about government. It seems like anything in government types is screwed up.
Thank God.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I was just nice words.
No, absolutely, but I'm saying, I just don't know enough to give you a solid answer, but I know what the government can do, is something that's private and is working well. So,
Other candidates?
And I'm gonna give you a Ken Coda answer, totally ditto. I don't know enough about it, but I know the government screws up stuff.
Watch out.
Yeah. He started it, so I'm just.
I'll be started.
Again, I don't know much about it also, but I do agree that I'm gonna have a lot of time in my hands. Hopefully, a lot of time in my hands when I retire in January. So I'll be able to do, yes, I'll be able to spend more time learning about everything that needs to be done in this community.
Your husband's gonna go off the walls.
Yeah, I know. That's okay.
Directly answering your question of how much time, as little as possible, because they have their own board, they don't need, me to meddle in that certainly. And it's just not, I think the POA board has a lot of other priorities to focus on.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick, for that. I was, well,
Is the water company up for sale, or is that what you're telling?
no.
So then what
What are you willing to put into it? Because it's gonna take a lot. It is, you know.
what needs to happen?
Well, the way I look at this, is this is a volunteer board, right? Think of it, we're all homeowners. And what happens? The time is not put into what's gonna take, to oversee that this is done properly, you know, that's the way I.
But who's running the water company?
Oh, the water company is, our water company, corporation that runs it.
So it's running okay now?
I can't say that, I don't sit on the board.
I think this is perhaps not the forum.
No, but I'm just saying, I don't understand, like, because I've never been in this conversation.
Water company is fully owned by EGPUA.
I get that, but is there a problem with it? Or that there's talk of a sale or bidding it out?
Chris, I'll answer that. I'm sorry. The reason why the question,
I would actually, Dan, I don't mean to cut you off. I would just, you're a candidate.
Yeah.
And I want to be a neutral facilitator here, but I think part of the process of campaigning, perhaps I would suggest is to go out and answer those questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
Joe,
what are you willing to put into it, that's all.
Yeah, if there's a risk of us losing it, I'll certainly put in the time, yeah.
Steve. Here's my cell phone number. I run the water company.
There you go.
I think that this board sends representatives to the water company board and they send someone to talk about what's going on at each board meeting. So I think it's a communication thing, it's a transparency thing, and that's, I think, the biggest time to put into it is to everyone to be on the same page as much as possible from what everybody has to report back to each other. And you know, if there's resources that have to get pooled or whatever it might just be literally, you know, manpower hours of, you know, supporting their projects or whatever it might be, but.
So I have a question. When I announced this spent to all of you, I sent you out the operating budget, so you've had an opportunity to hopefully to review the financials. I'd also like to give a big shout out to our staff who has been working diligently this week to update the website and get all of our financials and minutes in order. I know members at meetings have noted occasionally that there are some broken links on the website. And I'd just like to thank our staff, especially Anthony Manieri, for doing some work to make sure that all of that information is accessible to
Right now.
to homeowners. Thank you, Anthony. So following the election, the next big task that the board typically takes on is to develop and approve an operating budget and submit that to the members, which involves tough choices. Choices about making priorities in the community. What are we going to spend more money on? What are we going to cut spending on? So I'd love to hear or to give you an opportunity to reflect on areas where you might defend a spending increase to the membership, because that's what boards have to do, or your choice to perhaps propose an area where you might wish to cut services in order to achieve some kind of budget savings to the members.
I'll go first. I didn't review the financials, so I didn't know that question was gonna come up. So, I'm gonna opt out of that question.
I'll go. I mean, I think what I would defend cutting is the security line item. I think we can rework that role and fold it more in-house and find some real savings in there. It's something we've talked about over the last few years. In fact, the board approved a plan to do that. It was never carried forward. We're back to spending a lot of money on security. Security is important, don't get me wrong. I just think there's a better way to sort of do that that's more cost efficient. And an area where I would defend, I guess, an increase. I'd like to see more on the events budget, because I do think that's something I hear a lot of folks want to see more of.
I actually did not look at that also, so I'm gonna have to update it.
I never got them, but I will still tell you what I think, not looking at the budget. I think spending more money at the pool and getting more events at the pool, I think, I don't, there's no research involved with this, but I think more people came to the pool this year. I think it was a little more crowded than previous years. For me personally, I think there was more younger families coming, and I think, I don't know, just having simple things, more like the cabaret, having more nights like that at the pool. I've been coming here a long time, not as a resident, so I think like 15 years ago, there was more stuff at the pool, I remember them. So I'd like to see more of that, maybe as well.
I did look over the financials, I have them right here. Okay, I think after the water tower is finally built and the moratorium is taken away, I think we're going to have a boom here. There are at least about, approximately from my understanding, and I'm not exact, at least 137 lots still available to build on, approximately. All right, I think after the water tower is built and that's lifted, you're gonna see more and more building going on here. I think we might even have to go for another pool. Okay, so we need to take that into consideration in the next budget also. Of course, there's no crystal ball, but I believe it's gonna happen because the building that you see around the lake right now, those people got their permits before the water tower was conceived, and they got it before the moratorium happened, okay? I know some of the infrastructure around here might need some updating, like I was talking to Alana last week about the children's playground. And the playground is getting a little wonky, and that costs a lot of money. So I think some infrastructure money should be increased to things like that also, which I noticed that on here, you basically, what you guys do is every year you kind of raise it about 5%, it says here, in order to take into consideration for increased expenditures. And that you work off the budget from the year before. That's all well and good, but I think we need to like look down at what's failing now, like the infrastructure that I just spoke about, and maybe putting money away for a new pool. Thank you.
And I think we need to prioritize funding for the infrastructure stuff, because it's true, the playground is small, and if we continue to grow and have more people, we're going to outgrow our pool, we're going to outgrow the dock space, we're going to outgrow everything that everybody loves about being here all year. If we don't prioritize kind of setting aside money, and it might be that we have to limit other budget lines for a year or two and have less, in school life, we take closer field trips or no field trips at all, because the money wasn't there for that year, and we do things in-house and bring in, smaller things to make a great year while we are planning for something else that has to happen. So that might be where we have to do that, and I would hate to not, have certain events, but if it's for the greater good of more people to enjoy things, then that might be that moment, because we can't have certain things failing and be unsafe or not have any room for anybody. If 130 more homes get built, the pool won't hold everyone, because there were weekends this summer when the pool didn't hold everybody. It was 90 degrees outside, and I was like, are all these people here? And I'm like, they all moved here in the last 2 years. Everyone's moved here, and that's wonderful. And I love that there's people that I moved here, no one was walking their dogs. No one was walking in front of my house, and it was like a ghost town, and it was like, okay, where did I go? And now it's wonderful that everybody's out, but we have to make sure that we're planning ahead for that and thinking ahead, so.
I'd like to add something, if it's okay. Okay. The docks were mentioned. I am currently involved with other members that are here today, Anthony, Mark, a lot of other people who have docks out there now. And it has been proposed by me and others, I'm not taking full credit for this at all, to find a way to increase the dock space without any burden to the community. And I'm not going to get into particulars, but we're working on that now. Nick knows about it also. And, the key would be not to increase HOA fees or anything like that, and still be able to do that by what we were calling long-term leases. So that's just one of the things that we're working on, and I would like to continue to work on that.
Can I just add too, I mean, I talked in my answer about our operating budget, which is distinct from how we raise money for capital projects, which are very important. I would, to that point about capital projects, which I do think there are many, and you need to get a real sense of the priorities of what projects come first. Assuming things like roofs, you know, that don't break on us. That revamping our transfer and construction fee model is an important thing for us to do, because we gotta raise capital funds, and you're not gonna raise it. We have our operating budget just doesn't afford us to raise the kind of money that we'll need to build another pool, even to really build a playground. Certainly not to build more docks or do many of the other important capital things that we need to do. So we have to figure out how we're gonna make that money. It's not gonna come out of the operating budget.
So. Anthony and I use a 17 inch guard. We just project.
Yeah.
Speak louder, that's all.
Come on, Anthony, you could
Yes,
project.
sorry,
We know you could project.
Anthony's also gonna get the last question.
Even as we're
No
talking
pressure.
about.
I believe you're yelling at.
Even as we're talking about budgets, I have one question. I know at the end of the year, we have the budget that the board's gonna pass for next year. You're working off last year's budget right now. I see the emails going back and forth about events, about everything going on in the community, which is great. I never see anything about budget. I see it at the end of the year. This is gonna be next year's budget. We've approved it, the board, it's up 5%. It went from $1 million to $1.05 million. That's great. But where are we right now? Where were we 3 months ago? Where's the budget? There should be a running tally. There should be something that, as a homeowner, right now, we're looking at trying to find money for other projects, other things. And I don't know, are we above board, under board? Where are we underwater right now? Are we 50 grand ahead of the curve? Are we behind the curve? As a homeowner, I'd like to know that, or at least if it came out every 6 months, this was the projection. This is where we are. We're 50,000 in the plus or whatever, you know.
So just
That would be something nice to be able to know where do we stand as far as a community?
I would just as a point of clarification, since that's, I'm gonna take that as a question to the board, as well, that one of the things staff has been working on this week has been updating the financials on the website. Historically, the financials, including exactly the kind of information that you are asking about,
Right.
have been posted as soon as the board approves them for the members to access on the Emerald Green website. Those attention to the website has lapsed in some of the transition that we've undergone, but I think again, credit to Nick and to Anthony Manieri. They have been working the past week to update those. So those typically, those kind of monthly updates on where our financial position is are typically posted immediately following the board's approval of the financials at its monthly board meeting.
And
That's
you
just
know
wanted to
It's a
clarify.
monthly thing that comes out?
It is, and you see in the monthly financials, there's a comparison to budget.
Okay, I've never seen one.
That's because the links have been dead.
Oh.
To be totally fair to you for a few months, they're working on fixing.
Working on
That is a thing that we
Because that gives everybody an idea of where are we right now? We had a good year. We did a bunch of things and we had a good year, and now next year we're projecting to do this.
I don't mean to speak for candidates, I just wanted to clarify the information.
No, thank you.
Totally support.
All right, 3 reminders before we close tonight. First, everybody should be looking for an email from emeraldgreen@ivotehoa.com sometime tomorrow. If you don't get it by the end of the day tomorrow, you can call the office beginning on Friday morning. They will be more than happy to help assist you either in navigating technical difficulties or getting a paper ballot into your hands. But look for that email tomorrow. Call the office on Friday if there's a problem. Secondly, the community is looking forward to Cabaret on Friday evening at 6:30 at the pool. Yes. And finally, on Sunday at 11:30 a.m., we'll be right back here for a second Meet the Candidates event. So if you didn't dream up a question tonight, or if you just have lots more questions, you can show up on Sunday morning after, of course, everybody attends water aerobics and be here for a second opportunity to engage with our candidates. And last thing before closing, thank you again to all of you for the time that you're offering to this community. As a member, as a homeowner, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you as always to our staff, and particularly Nick, who's putting in a late night tonight to support us. And Anthony Maneri, who's also on the call to support community engagement in this election. And with that, I will close, and everybody have a good evening. Thank you so much.